I'm Nicole Auerbach, and I'm here with Merritt Beason, Nebraska's right side hitter, senior leader for the Huskers, heading into NBC's first Big Ten volleyball match. You guys, #2 team in the country, taking on Ohio State on Saturday on NBC. So, first of all, Merritt, just tell me about your team this season and what you guys have learned. You're 16-1, so 17 matches in. How do we feel about the Huskers?
Yeah, this team's really, really special. We return most of the same girls from last year, and obviously last year we had a really successful season. So this year it was all about how we're going to find little ways to get better, and this team has really, really tapped into that. We had a little test early on in the year with our one loss to SMU, but honestly, I think that was probably the best thing that could happen for this team. We really had to come together, kind of go back to the drawing board, see what we needed to fix as a team on and off the court. And so for us, that was a really good test early on to see how we were going to respond. And when we're pushed to that limit, how are we going to pull out of it a little bit sooner? And this team has done that over and over, day in and day out at practice. And so this team's just really special. We want it so bad for the person next to us, and that's ultimately what's driving us.
So as you look ahead to Ohio State, what are the keys against them specifically this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, they're great volleyball players, and they have one of the best players in the Big Ten right now, Emily Londot. And so for us, it's obviously going to be slowing her down. But, I mean, they have great players all around. So focusing on our defense, which is what we rely a lot on and we take a lot of pride in. And so for us, it'll just be sticking to our game plan and playing Nebraska volleyball.
So you mentioned the loss early in the year, but you guys are now 6-0 in the Big Ten. There are 4 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 10. Mm-hmm. I feel like we talk about this all the time. We talked about this last year, me and you, but this league is just so challenging and it's so hard week to week. Tell me a little bit about what that's like to play in, the excitement levels, but also just the amount of preparation for every opponent in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, our coach says all the time, there's never a night off in the Big Ten, and I think that's so true. From top to bottom, the Big Ten is so talented, and there's so many talented players in it. And so for us, I mean, honestly, it's great preparation for postseason because you have to bring your A game day in and day out. In the postseason, you don't have a second chance, you know? So for us, it's great preparation for that. But like you said, it does take a lot of preparation just because every single night is a battle. And for us, it just pushes us in different ways. When you're playing so many different but really, really good teams, you're getting challenged in so many different ways, which is ultimately going to make us better in the end.
So you personally had season high 22 kills in the win over Purdue. How are you feeling about your own play and where you wanted to grow for this senior season?
Yeah, that game was a really awesome match. I think my teammates and everyone, we really, really wanted that one. And we knew that that game was going to ultimately be a very big deciding factor in who wins the Big Ten championship because Purdue is such a great team this year and they're winning a lot of really big matches. And so for us, we wanted it really bad. So it was really special for all of my teammates to play so well throughout that game. But I think for me, still finding little ways to get a few more kills and still working on things. But I think my connection with Bergen has been really, really well. And so there's always things that we're working on, but I think this season's been going pretty well.
I wanted to ask you about your leadership, and you and Lexi Rodriguez, captains for a second straight year. I've heard what your coach has said about you and the fan base as well, about what great leaders you are. So what makes you a good leader? How do you approach a position like that at such a historic program where there's a lot of responsibility and so much does fall on you? How do you handle that? How do you get the most out of your teammates?
Yeah, it can be a lot at times, but I think having Lexi is a really good balance just because we can bounce off of each other. There's days where one of us doesn't have as much to give or one of us is maybe struggling on our own and we can't necessarily help everyone else around us. And so having a balance and having someone else who can, okay, Lexi, like I'm not at 100% today and she can carry the 20% that I don't have, or you know, vice versa. I can do that for her as well. So having that is really, really huge. It's a lot, especially when it's only on one person. So when it's split between the two, it definitely balances it out a lot. I would say Lexi and I are very, very similar in a lot of ways, but also different in some. And so for both of us, it's a lot about leading by example and just making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing and then holding people accountable from that. But I would say we both just lead out of love in a lot of different ways. And we just want to make sure that our teammates know that we're there for them and know that we care for them. And so I would say that that's how Lexi and I try and lead together for sure, even throughout our differences.
And as you mentioned, the postseason, the prep for that, leading towards hopefully another national championship game. So let's walk back a little bit to falling just short to Texas last year. Obviously, it's not the outcome you want, but what do you learn or take from reaching that match, reaching the final, and how has that helped shape this year's team?
Yeah, I mean, you take a lot from it. Obviously, you take a lot of grief from it as well, and you take a lot of like fire and. But I think for us, all of us gained the experience of what it takes to get there, which is very hard to do. Also, like what it feels like in that big moment, and then also what it feels like to not succeed in that moment. And I think most of us would agree that we don't ever want to feel that again. So it is a little bit of extra motivation, but for us, it also obviously exposed a lot of things in our game that hadn't been exposed last year. And so for us, it also allowed us as individual players to see like, okay, well, this is what happens when we start to break down as Merritt and as Lexi and as Bergen, and for everyone individually, but also us as a team. And so this year, that's really been a big focus of ours is, okay, when that starts to happen, how are we going to cut it off? And then how are we going to change that narrative this time around?
So Merritt, you transferred to Nebraska from Florida a couple years ago now to be part of this program and the history and the coaching staff and these teammates. Has it lived up to the hype? Like, what is the life of an actual, Husker volleyball star like?
Yes, for sure. This place is so special, and not just volleyball, but athletics as a whole is so special here. We obviously, other than the new volleyball league here, we didn't have any pro sports in Nebraska prior to the Supernovas. And so everyone just like thrives on Husker athletics, and that's what they look forward to. And so this place is really, really special. All the athletes are so well taken care of, and we as volleyball players can't go pretty much anywhere without somebody being like, go Big Red, great game this weekend, can I take a picture with you? Like, it's just such a special place that doesn't happen other places. And for a female athletics team to be getting that recognition and that love is just so special. And it's not just us, it's women's basketball too, and softball and everyone. Like, it's just a really, really special place. So Husker Nation is a lot to give credit to, but also just like you mentioned, the traditions here and our coaches and the culture here is just so special and so one of a kind. So I've truly enjoyed my past year, but I'm trying to hold on to every moment that I have here just because this place is so special. So I would say for sure. And obviously the tradition and the culture and everything's great, but I think the girls are truly what make the experience here. You're with them every single day for hours on end. And so this team has really, really bought into those traditions and that culture. And so for us, it's been so special. And I think that's a lot of why our team is so close and the relationships are so deep, just because everyone has bought in so well.
Merritt, I may need your help getting a ticket at some point because I know that it's the toughest
Just
ticket
let me
in
know.
town to a volleyball
Yeah.
match. Well, wishing you the best of luck this week against Ohio State. Can't wait to watch you on NBC. And good luck in the national championship race.
Thank you.